What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of New Pod here on KNOTFEST.com. As always, I am Joshua Toomey. That is Rocoli. And we are here to talk some new metal with you this week.
Yes.
Let's start out, man, with I know we're going to do a few concert reviews later from some shows you've recently seen, but Korn officially announces collaboration with Adidas. I do believe this has been in the works for a very long time. I thought it was officially announced
30
a long
years,
time
I
ago.
think, is really what it is.
Well, yes, 30 years ago, yes. But I thought this collab had been in the works for a while, but I guess it was just now officially announced.
I mean, I was asking you earlier if you're a Simpsons guy, and I saw a Simpsons meme that was, from something, and it was like, Korn announces a deal with Adidas, and one of the things was like, why now? Why not 20 years ago?
Right. Well, yeah, I do think that this is a bit late.
Right? That's kind of my thing. I'm like, okay, like it's not. I don't know. In a weird way, it was the most ultimate given. Like you would almost think that it had already happened and come and gone like eons ago. And the fact that it is a thing now, which is even weirder too, because Korn has never really dipped in popularity. Right. Like granted, maybe they're not playing, whatever, Antarctica and shit, but like, they've increased in popularity over the years. So it's like, it's not like, oh, they went away for a little while and now they're back. It's like they've always they've always been here. So it's like it's kind of surprising that, even without the whole new metal resurgence and this new renaissance of it, that they wouldn't take advantage of that aspect of Korn's fan base any earlier, unless the deals that they were trying to make, licensing and all these kinds of things were just garbage,
Right.
That's about the only thing I can think of that would hold up a process like that. But yeah, it seems like the ultimate given from 2001.
Right. Well, actually, there's a little bit in this story here. Over at Blabbermouth, this is the story. This October, Adidas Originals and Korn joined forces to celebrate a trailblazing legacy with a new collaborative partnership and collection. When the pioneering California-based alt metal band emerged on the scene 30 years ago, which sounds crazy,
right?
They broke away from the genre's established aesthetic codes and paved the way for a new generation of fans by sporting classic three stripes Adidas tracksuits. Never ceasing to challenge the normal convention, Korn and the Trefoil have maintained a long-standing relationship over the years through an authentic connection that was later immortalized by the 1996 song Adidas. The inaugural Adidas Korn collection collaborative features a selection of bold styles inspired by the band's 1996 album Life is Peachy. The collection comprises 2 graphic t-shirts, a 3-stripe hoodie with the band's logo on the front, and 2 signature takes on the quintessential Adidas Originals tracksuit, one in black with white accents and one with purple sequins. This kind of skip ahead here, but Kerrang! Magazine reported in 2021, Adidas gave Korn free product in the late 90s, but was unwilling to sign the band to a proper deal. This led Korn to ink a deal with Puma in 1998.
There we go.
We switched to Puma because they told us they'd put us in a commercial and gave us a little money to wear their shit, Korn frontman Jonathan Davis told Kerrang! Which, if I remember correctly, that was like a little money was like, I think $500,000 back then. Yeah, so
yeah, that's all right.
But yeah, I think this is crazy. I'm going to pull the product up now of the first little launch here of stuff. But all of it, I kind of skimmed through it earlier, and I 1,000% probably would have bought this in like 95.
Right.
I just don't know how much of this stuff I'm buying today.
I get the nostalgia aspect, and I think those kids growing up now, will totally dig on it. For me, for what it's worth, I guess for me, I just look at it like the designs that I've seen so far, like I don't think there's anything special about it. Like I remember back in the day, I owned a Korn long sleeve. It just said Korn on the front with the 3 stripes, even though it wasn't Adidas branded. It definitely gave off the vibe of Adidas, but like, but that was in 95, like you said, like 90, 95, 96. So it just had Korn on it, and that was fine. And I find that just this kind of, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. There's definitely that aspect of like, the purple sequined one.
Right.
I remember when Jonathan would wear that live. Like, I get that stuff, but it's like, I kind of wished, on the one hand, yes, you put Korn on a bunch of stuff and it looks like the old school Korn stuff, but I kind of was hoping for a little bit more creative innovation, if you will,
Yeah, I think the crazy thing with this, like, could you imagine like walking into a party today, like wearing the purple sequin Korn jumpsuit?
Only on Halloween, dressed up as Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, I mean, when Korn popped, in '94, I bought. There was like one shirt at Gadzooks and like one hoodie at the show. It was like there was nothing with Korn, the Korn logo on it. So I 1,000,000% would have worn a lot of this stuff back in the day.
Right.
But man, I just don't know like what's going on here. I mean, maybe this would be kind of cool to have.
Again, it just looks like a shirt I had back in the 90s. Like to me, I guess, go back to the main screen, if you could.
All right.
Like I look at the the sneakers I think are actually kind of cool. If that's your thing, I'm all about that. That's fine. I think for me, it's the fact that like people like us who are in our 40s, late 40s, early 50s kind of thing, that are still listening to Korn, still going to see Korn play and all that. And we're Korn fans from the first record or potentially before that, that there's nothing for that demographic. There's nothing for us as fans. Like, I feel like on the one hand, yes, it's a nostalgia thing. You could definitely buy your Korn Adidas, like I think those sneakers are actually dope, man. If they did that in a high top, dude, I'd be all over that. I would be all over that. But that's the thing. It's like, the sneakers are cool, but I just feel like the rest of the stuff, like, and I'm not saying that I want this per se, but I'm just saying this type of thing. But it's almost like I would want something that's a little more adult, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Whether it was I don't know, maybe, like whenever I see like sometimes Metallica will do it or whatever, where it's like you get like that super classy, almost like dress shirt kind of vibe, or something like that, where it's just something that appeals to sort of just that a little bit older generation also. Like, like you said, it's like, I'm not going to walk around in a purple fucking tracksuit.
This shirt here looks totally, this comes with Jinkos if you buy it. Like you have to buy this in a 2X and your mom just dropped you off at Ozfest.
Yep. Wallet chain not included. I mean, and again, it's like some of this, I guess to me, it's just, it feels so basic. It just, I'm hoping at the very least, that they will do maybe, like maybe this is the first wave and the first wave is all nostalgia and I'm fucking great. Yeah, that's awesome. Sign me up. But if they do like a second wave where it's like, we're going to make a fucking whatever, again, hypothetically speaking, a Korn necktie or, something like that. Like that's kind of the type of stuff where I'm like, I want to see how far people are willing to go with the brand and with the demographic again.
Yeah.
Like, the odds of, I don't know, the odds of me, I guess, wearing a jacket like that is so slim.
Honestly, this of all the things I think so far would probably be the one thing I would wear. Yeah. Maybe.
See, for me, I just think it would just be like, I don't know. I would feel like I'm wearing dated clothing.
Right.
Like, even though if I wore a Korn shirt right now, I'd be fine with that. But there's, it's like wearing Kappa gear. Remember that? Remember Kappa?
Kind of, yeah.
Max Cavalera, there was a big thing with Max and Kappa. But there was a bunch of bands that had Kappa gear and whatnot. And like, it was just one of those things that it was kind of like in a weird way, I guess you could kind of call it like, if you have like your top companies, it would have been like Adidas, Puma, Kappa kind of thing. But it was like, same thing. It's like if I walked around with a bunch of Kappa breakaways right now, I'd kind of feel stupid.
If you walked into this party right here, I think I would just turn around and walk out.
Right, like right, exactly. You'd just be like, this is, not really my thing.
Yeah.
But I think something a little, I don't know, like I said, just a little classier.
This guy truly has like some kickwear and a wallet chain, like we were joking about.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this sort of looks like a JCPenney catalog trying to capitalize on new metal fashion. Like that's, like I remember when grunge, like when they started putting like grunge wear in like JCPenney and stuff like that, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, grunge," and it's like that's kind of what I feel like with this. I feel like it's just like a JCPenney catalog. There's no real, I don't know. To me, I feel like there's no real heart to it.
Yeah.
And so if you're listening to Adidas, I still love your stuff. I will always love you, but I think you guys need to take some serious risks with this. I think you can take those risks. You're fucking Adidas. Take some fucking risks. Like that's where I look at it. It's like I feel like they're just putting out the same sort of like the Hot Topic collection. It's like, which is fine, but at the same time, it's like, I'm
gonna pre-order all of this now.
Yeah, right.
Actually, it was funny. I don't know if you can see it or not, but on the main page it says "Add all to cart." You could just click one button.
Get
get
everything.
So yes, Adidas, we will get all of it.
Yes, all at the same time. But that's just my take on it. It's I'm again, even being a big Kiss fan, it's like, yes, I have my fair share of Kiss t-shirts and everything, but I love wearing my Kiss tie to a fucking wedding.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing where it's like that's sort of where I'm going with it, as opposed to, just being like, oh, I have a Kiss t-shirt that I'm going to wear.
I have one of your Kiss Adidas tracksuit to wear to the wedding.
Right. Sequined. Only if it's sequined and only if it looks like Paul Stanley's outfit.
There you go.
And I don't even need I just need like a printed like hairline. That's all I need. I'm not going to show my actual hair. I just need it to be like.
Yeah, I mean, like the purple's like, because at Sick New World last year, that's where where Jonathan kind of busted out the sequin jumpsuit, and it hit that nostalgia feel. But it's not like something I would ever want to buy.
Right. Well, it's like whenever I see bands go on stage and they have what I call rock and roll pants.
Yeah.
And they're always just like torn perfectly. Yeah. Patched up even more perfectly. It's like it's that kind of thing where I'm like, I couldn't be like, oh, okay, cool. I need to go and buy groceries. Like, time to put on the rock and roll pants.
Put on my rock and roll pants.
Put on my rock and roll pants and go to the grocery store.
Yeah. That's what stage clothes are for.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, man. Well, speaking of stage clothes, we'll move on to some shows you've recently seen, because all Ro does is go see shows.
I forgot what sleep is.
Right. Yeah. When you tell me your concert, where you're going to see shows, it makes me tired.
Yeah, dude, you're not the first person to say that. They're just like, I'm just going to live vicariously through you and your Facebook page and do it like that. But yeah, that's what we get. We get that a lot. But you know what? I don't fucking care. I will never stop going to shows, even when I'm like, something happens to my legs and I'm like, well, then we got to wheel over to the show, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Or somebody needs to 3D print me some fucking legs.
You look like the Wild West. Who was that? Will Smith,
spider.
I think.
The big spider thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be sick, man. Are you kidding me? If I had like Darth Maul spider legs.
Or Darth Maul, yeah. Same thing.
Fucking sign me up.
Let's start with Power Trip, man. I know that they're the big 3-day festival down in the Coachella area.
Yes.
Let's say I know you just went to the last day, which is the Metallica Tool Day. Kind of just talk about everything around it, man, because I mean, obviously everybody saw it from afar, and honestly, to me, it blew me away that there were 0 opening bands. It was just 2 monster bands each night. So kind of talk about it.
Yeah. So it's funny. All things considered, when it first came around and everything, I remember it just like with Sick New World and everything. Everybody's first thing is like, "There's no fucking way. There's no way that's going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen." And then they were like, "Wait, it's $200 a day to go, and you can only get 3-day tickets." So it's like you're automatically forced to spend $600 plus service fees. So you're talking, I think it came out to like $900. It was something pretty stupid, It was something really, really stupid. And I think that was like, everyone's like, ugh, really? But then I think people probably thought to themselves, like, wait, but if I went and saw Metallica, it would cost me at least $100. If I went to see Tool, it would cost me. And this way you can see all of these bands all at once. So, you know, you have to pick up your tickets in advance and everything. And I did not. So when you go to a show, Josh, or I go to a show, what do we do when we go there? We walk up, you walk up to the box office and you say, hey, I'm on so-and-so's guest list, or I am, you know, on will call. Here's my name. Here's my ID. Here's your tickets. You go into the show. That's it. The place to pick up your tickets was 8 miles away from the actual venue. And I am not joking on that. It was 7.8 miles away from the actual venue. So when I pulled up trying to figure out where the fuck I'm supposed to go, I had no idea. And everyone was like, well, you know, the tickets are for 3 days. So they moved the entire box office situation and guest list off site, like, but way off site. And so for me, I was like, I didn't know that. So I show up and I'm like, where do I go? And of course, none of the security guards have any fucking clue where I'm supposed to go. So nobody knows where I'm supposed to. So it just took me forever to actually make it actually inside the venue. That took a really, really long time on top of the 2.5, almost 3 hours it took to drive there.
Yeah.
So then, so once that happened, it was funny. I parked in the parking lot, and me and my friend Stephanie Cabral, she takes photos of tons and tons of bands. She was like, I'm 1.4 miles from my car. Like from the stage to her car was 1.4 miles. After the show, when I walked from the stage to my car, it was 2.27 miles. So, yeah. So I got my steps in that day.
There you go. Yeah. That's nice.
But so when I got in, Tool was already on. There were only a couple of songs in, but I haven't seen Tool in years. And I mean, I'm to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not even exaggerating. I think it was like 2009 or 2010. Wow. And I saw them at the Staples Center, and a friend of mine gave me tickets because he was like, oh, I got better tickets, so I'll just give you mine. So we were like, great. Went there, and like literally, here's where I am. Here's where the ceiling of the arena is. So I was literally at the top, but I was like, all right, dude, if I had known you were going to give me this shitty tickets, I would have actually gone and bought some for myself. But I just remember seeing it. And I mean, obviously the light show was fucking crazy, but I remember Maynard had his back to the crowd the whole time. And I just thought that was like, you know what, dude, like I don't know, maybe it's just because the way I go to shows or whatever, but I'm like, yo, face the audience, face your fucking fans, you know.
Put on some rock pants.
Yeah, put on some fucking space pants and, you know, come on and do this, you know, intergalactic space pants. You know, and I just remember being like super just like, man, that's just fucking bullshit. And so I was really, I'd been kind of turned off at Tool at that point for a while. And this time I was like, okay, I've seen video of Tool shows and all, but I haven't seen them for a long time. And let me tell you, man, if there was a band that should really do a show at that new Vegas Sphere. Oh yeah. If Tool did that, I would literally attempt to go every fucking night. And in that case, fucking, I don't even care if Maynard's not even in the fucking building. Like it's like back facing the audience. Don't even care. You do it in a fucking immersive area like that, it's gonna be so ridiculous. And I mean, they had, I mean, the production like video screens, I mean, were massive. I mean, massive. I mean, you know, we've gone to our fair share of festivals and such. This was like, it was fucking huge. I just remember walking in and being like, and then they're showing it on all the jumbotrons also. So, and it's so big, all the jumbotrons are big, and the Tool thing is big. I actually didn't know where the stage was because I was like, right. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going right now because it's like music is coming from every angle and visuals are fucking everywhere. So I was just like, I literally was just like, oh my God, is this what I've been missing this whole time? But they played, you know, just a lot of the stuff from Opiate and Undertow. I mean, all the records really. Yeah. But it was just cool to hear all of that, and then to. Is that on your side? Okay. And then to hear, just to hear those songs. And I mean, you know, the crowd was super into it, but it was also the final day of the show, of the festival. Mm-hmm. So people were crispy, you know, like there were people you could tell that were just like, I just need this show to be over now. Like you could see that in the crowd, because apparently the day before, I think it was AC/DC had played, and apparently, and I'm not an AC/DC fan. I like literally a total of 3 AC/DC songs, and all people were talking about was how insanely amazing they were. And I was like, it was one of those things where I'm like, I kind of wish I could have seen that also.
Yeah,
it would have meant me sitting around during AC/DC, a band I don't particularly care for.
The AC/DC set list that I've seen is pretty much like 30 songs or something. It's insane, like how many, and they're all in their 70s at this point. So,
and I mean, I heard that just the vocals were on point, sound was on point.
Yeah.
Everything was I think it really blew people away. I don't think they were expecting it. And I was pretty stoked. I mean, it was literally like buzzing conversation around me at the show. But yeah. So anyway, so Tool was just, this was me most of the time. Just like staring at it going like, I feel like I'm on drugs. And then I look around and I'm like, I'm not on drugs and I don't even have an alcoholic beverage in my hand. But like, it's just so immersive, and it was really good. They sounded incredible, and I mean tight, and just in a great. I mean, I have to my liking of Tool is kind of revitalized after seeing that show. I was really super impressed. And with War Machine merch, we're actually making something for Danny Carey right now that hopefully that'll come out next year.
Nice.
Hopefully through Revolver magazine. But it's just this huge project that we're working on, and I think when people see it, they're going to be like, oh, it's a little Tool concert, like that.
No, if you only could get Danny Carey on your new metal podcast.
You know what? That's let's put it this way: once this deal and this item comes out and everything like that, I think it'll absolutely push that a lot closer than I am currently. But I don't see why not. But so they were just really incredible. And then,
before we dive into metal, I will say that like since the pandemic, I've seen Tool 3 times, and I'd never seen Tool before. That was one of the first shows we went to post pandemic. It was amazing. We were kind of side stage though, so our tickets were side stage. We weren't standing side stage, but we were up in the rafters, but we were like kind of looking down at Danny Carey's profile, so we didn't really get the whole show. But the second show we saw at the arena here, like I was like, I don't care how far back we have to be. I still want to be dead, watch straight on.
Right.
So we got, some upper level seats straight on. And yeah, the whole place was just, lights and graphics and everything going on. And then we saw them at Louder Than Life. And again, they had all the screens going, just everything going. So, I mean, I know exactly what you mean. Like you almost don't even care to watch the show, the band play. Right. You just want to see what's good, like all the visuals and
right.
I mean,
because in a weird way,
the bass player, they're not doing
headphones, and just like watch the visuals. But I find that just like, it was weird because I was at one point I was like, okay, I'm gonna try something. I just closed my eyes, and it's like you could still sort of see the visuals through your eyelids, but like listening to Tool at the same time. It really was. It was something. It was. In a landscape right now where it's almost like, how do you outdo what you've done and up the ante amongst other bands who have zillions of dollars to do all sorts of production? It's like, what do you do? And whatever it is they're doing it really fucking well, man.
Yeah.
So they were just incredible.
How long did they play? Do you know?
Yes. I believe everyone played for 2 hours, or at least just around 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. It was like an hour and 45, I think, is what I'm thinking it was. Because that's why they did no opening bands, because they were just like, because it's like it's an older demographic, as you can imagine, Judas Priest, Maiden, etc. So what it was like, okay, cool, like rather than have those people be there all day long in the sun and all this kind of stuff, it's like, nope, the show, like, here's when they go on. So, if you want to show up 2 hours early, there's tons of camping. Like, that was a very big thing over there, was the whole camping situation. So this way you could camp, and then just kind of, you had your wristband so you could just wander into the show kind of thing.
Okay.
So it was a lot of that. So it's just kind of I don't know. It was that's why they didn't do any of those opening bands, because they were like, no, we're going to just give you 2 headliners doing 2 headliner sets, And
was it just one stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just one stage.
Huh.
So that way it was just, and then I think it was 40 or 45 minutes between bands, something like that. And then, so then by the time it was over, it's like, great. Then you can go back to your, tent or your hotel or whatever. And then, it's like, you didn't have to be like, oh crap, I got to be there at 10 a.m. to see the first band go on. Like, it's like, no, you could actually wake up, and if you're hungover, then you can kind of deal with that. If you want to get some food, like it was a lot of that kind of thing where it just, it was very open like that. But I think that was kind of cool. I think not having the all of the other bands there, kind of like, it kind of kept everybody sort of focused on what was happening, didn't divide the focus at all. Okay. So
how was Metallica?
So Metallica was good. However, their sound was funky. When they came on, at least for the first bunch of songs, it was like all I could hear was Kirk, and not even like just hear Kirk, but it was like it's like where you can hear them strumming, like when you can like hear the pick against the strings kind of thing. So it was like that for a while, at least where I was standing, and I was just kind of getting to the point where I was like, all right, but they played, like, they opened with Whiplash, which is awesome, because they didn't play, they barely played any Kill 'Em All songs when I saw them with Pantera. So it was just awesome to have them open with Whiplash. It was fucking just like, it was so great. But yeah, that was just 2 hours of Metallica. And it's funny, I haven't seen Metallica since the Big Four, and now I saw them twice in like 2 months, so, but it was really, they just blew through it. And, it definitely was a really special event, but like by the time Metallica was done though, you could just, I was kind of towards, I guess, more towards the exit, sort of, while they were kind of finishing their set. First off, even though I think it's overplayed and everything, man, Seek and Destroy just gets everyone excited. Right? So I feel like I'm always just like, oh, Seek and Destroy again. All right, no, next, because to me that's like Master of Puppets. It's just overplayed a lot. But man, when they play that opening riff, like the whole place was like, Wah! I was like, all right, fuck, dude. Killer.
It's funny, I'm wearing my Metal Shop shirt, and I was listening to the latest episode of Charlie Kindle's Metal Shop, which is back out. He did the top 3 most important metal songs of all time or something, and his number 2 song was Seek and Destroy. I was like, really?
Over Master of Puppets?
Of all the Metallica catalog, that was like his number, and then number 1 was, I think, Holy Diver. So it was like, good
whittle it down to top 3 is ambitious, I think.
Right?
Like top 3 of all time, like at least do top 10.
The most important. I guess he could have said top 3 most important. So whatever that means. Guess that gives you some wiggle room, but yeah. So check out Charlie Kindle's Metal Shop over at RFK. What is it? KRFK Media. There we go. It's on my shirt. I got to
dyslexia kicking in.
Yeah, no. There's too many K's.
There are too many K's. So the funny thing after the show though was that I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll go and check out the merch, as I do. And so the bands that were there that day, the Tool and the Metallica merch, that had some people there. The event merch after the show, 3.5 hour wait.
Wow.
And that show ended at midnight, and there was still a 3.5 hour wait. Like, it was crazy, but they had merch from all the bands from all the days. Yeah. But even still, I was like, when I saw that line, I was like, fuck that. And
that's even like a Louder Than Life, man. Like, every time I would walk past the merch tent, like, the line would be crazy.
Yeah.
And no matter what time of day, I'm just like, there's no way. I mean, there might be some, maybe if you're looking at the set times and there's a band, there might be a chunk of time where there's nothing you really want to see.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, I'm like, I'll just wait.
Right. And that's kind of it. It's like, you gotta, like, I thought there was going to be, I don't know, just end of the show kind of thing, like I thought the Metallica booth or the Tool booth would be packed, but it was just everybody buying just the Power Trip show shirts and everything.
Oh, nice.
That was crazy. So then when I walked back to my car, almost 2.5 miles away, you park in a big dirt lot, obviously.
Yeah.
And I parked during the day. So I knew where my car was during the day. But then at night, it's like you got cars everywhere. So I'm like, oh man, how long am I gonna have to sit here to find my fucking car? But
the panic button on your fob.
Yeah, dude, constantly. I was just like, come on, it's around here somewhere. The funny thing is, that's how I knew I walked to almost 2.5 miles, is that I never had to double back around to find my car. I still walked right towards it, but I was like, but because I didn't have to do that, when I looked at my steps, I was like, dude, I just went like almost 2.5 miles just to get to my fucking car.
Wow.
So it was like I said, that day was really, it was cool for me just seeing Metallica and Tool, these two bands that I haven't really seen a whole lot of in the last bunch of years. So that was really, really cool. The whole offsite box office thing was ridiculous, and thankfully, this is a shout out to my buddy Junior. He's Danny Carey's drum tech. He's the one who gave me directions. He's like, you got to go here to pick up your tickets. And I was like, fuck. All right. So thank you to Junior. He's the shit. And he's in a band called All Hail the Yeti.
Oh, nice.
Check them out because they're fucking rad too. Anyway, so if it wasn't for Junior, I would have still been like, what do I do? So that was good. But I mean, otherwise it was cool. But yeah, the crowd was definitely like super crispy by the end of that thing because they basically at that point, I mean, they were at what 2-4 like 8 hours of bands over like 3 days, so. And then same thing. It's like you're still going to the show early to make sure you can get a good spot or whatever it is, So it's like you're still there earlier, So it's just a lot of standing and all that. But it was like, but it was funny. I was talking to my wife while I was walking out, and I was kind of showing her the venue and everything like that, and she's like, "There's a lot of really old people there," and I was like, and I was like, well, because I think for her, like, also, and I think typically it's like you think of Tool, like, all right, well, Tool's not like they're not the Stones, Right. Like, maybe Metallica might be a little closer in that regard, but like, look at Tool like the Stones, but like. I was telling her, I was like, well, think about the people who were 20 years old when Metallica came out.
Yeah.
In 83, 84, 85, it's like if they were in their early 20s or super late teens, I mean, they would be 60 right now, 60 and up. So, I'm like, that's kind of the demographic for this. So that's why I think that in the end, because it is an older demographic, that it really did, it catered to them really, really well. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think a lot of even Tool, you got to think when they hit like 92, 93.
Yeah, right.
If you were in college back then, I mean, hell, you're in your 50s now,
Right.
So, I mean, this is it. Yeah, I mean, it is bizarre to go to like the final Slayer show and look around the crowd, and you're just like, because at one point I was like, man, the crowd's really not getting into the show. But then I look at the crowd, and I'm like, if a lot of these people get into it, they might break a hip.
That's kind of it, man. It's like the do I have medical insurance tour, like right. That's kind of like yo, hey, don't do that, But that was kind of it. It's like you at that Slayer show. I was at that Slayer show, and it's like, there were so many people who like, usually when at a Slayer show, everyone's up off their feet out of the seats, and it's like here the people are like, I'm good, thanks. Right. I need the seat right now, like my varicose veins are kicking in. So it was really cool. I'm really happy I was able to go, if only for that one day. It was way better than I was expecting it to be. But
nice.
But yeah.
Sounds good, man.
What else we got?
As we record, I guess last night you went to see Cavalera.
I did.
But did they just do old stuff? Did they kind of mix it up? What did they do?
No, it was, well, I mean, at the end they did like kind of some refuse resist territory, that kind of thing. Nice. They did what was it? Morbid Visions. Mm-hmm. And what is the other one escaping me?
Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation.
Bestial Devastation, that's it. And then they did some of Schizophrenia. Oh, wow. And it was cool, and the crowd was into it and everything. I know that it was the last night of the tour. But I kind of felt that in the vibe of the crowd in a weird way. Like it almost felt like I felt like everybody was just trying to get off stage so they could be like, I need to go home. It looked like, and I think Exhumed was saying, they're like, we've been out on tour for 14 years, like weeks, months. Like, right. We don't even know anymore. And that was kind of like when I heard that and I kind of watched them continue to play, I was like, yeah, like these guys are just done. Like, everyone needs a break at this point. So I kind of got that vibe from it, but it was still cool. I was just, I think in a way, like I haven't seen them do Chaos AD, like in its entirety. So
that's the one I'm waiting for.
That's what I'm waiting for as well. You know, I saw them do Roots, and I saw them do the early shows, and I missed Max doing Nail Bomb, and I wish I could see him do Nail Bomb again. I would love to see that. That would be fucking amazing. And I'd love to see Killer be killed and stuff, but it's like I just hope they do a little something more. It was funny though. I had this idea a while ago. That I was telling bands that, like, you know, you should put just TV screens on, you know, on your speakers or whatever, on your amps or whatever, and, you know, just do video where it's your lyrics, you know, just do almost like lyric videos, so the fans can get into that and sing along and everything. And no one's ever done it, or no one's done it, in my opinion. I saw Limp Bizkit do it once, and I was like, that's fucking brilliant. And Fred Durst was like, he's like, that's not for me, that's for you guys, because
right,
you know, these songs are 30 years old and I want to make sure you remember it. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant, you know. And so Max actually had the TVs there, and I was like, awesome. And then they didn't show any lyrics. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, that might take a minute to sync up properly. But the Bring Me the Horizon last year, Louder Than Life did that with some of their bigger singles, had like giant lyrics up on the screen.
Right. And I just think that's a cool way to do it, because again, it's like, especially when it comes to metal, you know, if it's the first time you're seeing a band, like, you don't necessarily know what they're singing about, but if you can actually read it, like, those lyrics could actually hit way deeper than you could have ever imagined, you know. But it's going to be hard when people don't know your stuff. That's why, like, in LA, when people are like, everyone just stood there like this, and I'm like, yeah, because you're coming out and nobody knows what the fuck you're saying, and you're playing at 900 miles an hour, and you're going to be upset that you're not getting a fucking crazy mosh pit going. Like, you're not giving people the, you know, something to hold on to. And that's always my thing, is like, you know, if you can get your lyrics out into people's heads, I think that A, it leads to more audience participation, and B, it leads to more retention of the lyrics for the fan. You know,
I think you get a lot of that in Nashville. They always say, like, Nashville and LA and those bigger cities, because pretty much everybody in the crowd is probably a better musician than you are anyway. So it's hard for, like, musicians to just let loose and have a good time.
Right.
Getting into bands they don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But I find that just when I read lyrics, it's just like, I'm like, oh, fuck, like that speaks to me a lot more. But yeah, but it's like, so they had it there, but they didn't have any of the lyrics. And I was just like, oh, it's such a wasted opportunity, because again,
it seems like the not that they're doing it, but it seems like the Static X tour, the footage I've seen so far from it, looks like the video screens are kind of like more. There's more of them on the stage, kind of in different places, which I thought it makes it look great. And they seem to, obviously with Dope out, they can kind of mix and match the stage show,
the visuals, like, right? Totally. And I think that's the type of stuff where I'm just like, I'm always on the hunt for more innovative production and whatnot, you know. But like I said, but at this point, I looked at everybody in all the bands, and I'm like, you guys just want to go home. You know?
Which makes me want to go home.
But I mean, you know, it just is what it is, you know. But as soon as they do a Chaos AD tour, like, I will be fucking.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been their year to do it, though. I mean, a 30th anniversary, but, you know, maybe they just didn't. They didn't put that into consideration. But man, that album. Yeah, that album was the album that got me into Sepultura and, like, you know, hooked me, and, you know, kind of even like turned into this new metal kind of thing that we're talking about now. You know, that was one of the albums that really took that groove and the heavy and kind of showed everybody how to do it.
That's exactly it. It was, I mean, I started getting into, like, the later part, like very last part of Arise, but it was still, like, in a weird way at the time, for my own musical taste, like, it was still a little too much death metal for me at the time, where my palate wasn't really set up for that. But then when Chaos AD came out, I was like, oh fuck, all right, this is where it's going, you know. And then it almost eased me into their older stuff a lot easier, as opposed to just being like, here's Brazilian death metal, and you're like, what? I don't know what's happening.
I mean, I definitely got into Chaos AD, and then went back and bought Schizophrenia and all that stuff, which, I mean, it sounds like garbage, but it's, you know, the tunes are there.
Right. No, that's exactly it. I mean, that's how I feel too. That's why when after Chaos, and then, you know, you had Nail Bomb and Roots and all these kinds of things, it was just so, you know, for me, it just kind of worked out perfectly. So yeah, so anything from Chaos, like, I would love to see that. That'd be amazing. I would just love to be able to get my old fucking Chaos AD long sleeve back, man. That thing's my favorite thing, my favorite shirt ever. You know?
My favorite was the Nail Bomb on the back. It was 100 Reasons to Hate, and it had 100 different reasons to hate.
Oh, that's why I never got to see them live. And then when they did the Igor and Max thing with that, I think I was out of town, and I was just like, fuck, man, I really, really hope they do something like that again. That would be so incredible. Who else did I see last week? Oh, I also saw Run the Jewels. Dude,
they were one of my favorites at Louder Than Life.
Holy crap, man. I've been wanting to see Run the Jewels forever. And they were supposed to play out here with Rage Against the Machine. And then Zach got hurt, I think it was. So they ended up canceling like the last 4 dates. And LA was one of them. So I never got to see him. And I was really hoping I get to see Rage again. Because, I've been seeing them since, 92? God, I've seen them so many times. But it's I was really hoping to see them again and hear those songs. But they played 4 nights at the Palladium out here, the Hollywood Palladium, because it's the 10-year anniversary of their first record. So each night they did a different record. And so they had special guests, like Zach De La Roca came out at one point. But so I got tickets for the final show. And it was funny because I was like, well, let's just see what tickets are going for. So I go to Ticketmaster and they're like, whatever, $35, whatever it is. I go to StubHub, $6. I was like, and I actually had to ask my wife. I was like, tell me what that says. And she goes, it says $6. I was like, okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm seeing this. So total for 2 tickets for Run the Jewels at a show in Hollywood was $10.50 per person. It was fucking stupid. It just made no sense. But we went there, we got in, and Tenacious D was one of the openers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which we were not expecting. And so was Dilated Peoples. And then when they came out to Jack Black singing We Are the Champions by Queen. So they came out after that, which was pretty awesome. But their whole set was just fucking nonstop energy the whole time. And then they still played a bunch of their kind of greatest hits, which was awesome because I didn't get to see any of the other shows. So I got to still hear and see them perform these songs. And it was incredible. And the funny thing about them is I found out about them from Revolver magazine because they were on the cover. And I was like, why would Revolver be covering Run the Jewels? Because I just knew them as a hip hop band. Mm-hmm. And then I fucking got into it, and it pulled me in super hard. And so I just went and got all their records and everything. I was just like, oh my God, this is great. But if anybody out there hasn't listened to Run the Jewels, fucking get some Run the Jewels. That shit is
definitely fun.
Incredible.
Before we dive into Death Clock and Baby Metal, here is the 100 Reasons to Hate shirt.
That's awesome.
We'll just run through a few of these. Nail Bomb's 100 Reasons to Hate. Police Systems. Number 2, crack. 3, the government. 4, child abuse. 5, censorship. 6 is the KKK or Nazi organizations. Number 7, Epic Columbia Records.
Dude, they really didn't like them.
All music business fakes. And then 18, Garth Brooks. 32, nuclear weapons, nuclear power. 34, Michael Jackson. Number 38, plastic surgery. 53 is suffering. 54, tobacco companies. 57, Lollapalooza. 61, rednecks. 64, McDonald's. 68, David Koresh. So just
that's funny. What a great long sleeve, man! If I found that long sleeve, I'd be all about it, dude.
97, MTV USA. 96, the Vietnam War. Chemical warfare. Yeah,
that's funny.
45, Tipper Gore. 52, Lenny Kravitz. Come on now.
I wonder if Max ever looks at that and is just like, why did I hate Michael Jackson so much? But
this was a cool shirt. It had all the little
it has all the little no signals. That's awesome.
Yeah, good show, good stuff.
That's a great shirt, man. I'd love to find that again. That's awesome. I am stoked. I do have I did get Point Blank on vinyl.
Nice.
I was pretty stoked about because they had
that's such a good record.
Some exclusive vinyl on Amazon. So I was like, fuck yeah.
That was another luckily he's been doing these tours, and I'll get on the press list, so I got to interview him about Nail Bomb and interview him basically because I mean, a lot of times you'll interview someone like Max and you'll be talking about the new album, but you want to sneak in a Nail Bomb question or you want to sneak in a Roots question. But when they come on and that's what they're on to talk about, you can just dive right into Point Blank or Roots or whatever. So it's nice to just kind of have the carte blanche to really hit about that time. I did the Beneath to Arise or whatever. And, although like just being able to kind of focus in on that stuff and not try to sneak in hey, on KSAD, that type shit. So,
that'd be cool. I would love to do a deep dive with Max on that first Soulfly record. I think that would be rad. That'd be incredible.
We can try to make that happen. All right, last one before we get out of here. You went to see the Baby Clock tour, and if you guys are paying attention on the KNOTFEST YouTube, some of the Louder Than Life interviews are rolling out, and the Brendan Small one is out now, the Kitty one is out now, and the Jamie Morgan from Code Orange one is out now. So
nice.
So yeah, Brendan Small is like I went from. Well, I guess I interviewed him a long time ago, but he's been on the podcast I think twice in a month now.
Oh, nice. So he's used to us now.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know you. It was good. That's all I'm gonna say. It was good. It was at SoFi. It was at the Nokia or the YouTube Theater rather, which is at SoFi Stadium, which is where I saw Metallica, which I swore I didn't want to go to ever again, and now I know why, because same bullshit happened there too. So we got the last two songs of Baby Metal.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave it a shot.
That's all I can say. Before we gave it a shot. I saw somebody who I can't remember who it was, but they had just seen another show. Oh, it was my friend Jason T. Smith, who did Thrift Hunters, has been on the podcast tons of times. He went to see Pink at the at SoFi, and he was like, I will never go to see a show at this hunk of junk ever again. Like this gigantically long Facebook rant about how much SoFi sucks as a concert venue.
It's like when you're actually inside, you'll be pretty. It's very much awe-inspiring. I will say that, because you're just kind of like looking at it like, I feel like I'm in a fucking spaceship, because the way they built it, it's got this crazy design on the outside, and then it goes all the way underground, and the stage or the playing field for football is underground, and just all this stuff, and it is really aesthetically cool. But when you get there and it's like, oh, you mean you're on the floor? No, you have to take 18 escalators to get to the floor, and you're like, really? Or hey, you could wait 90 minutes for the elevator, because it's going to just be fucking people going up to every single floor, So as far as practicality goes, yeah, dude, that place is just garbage, man. I'm not a fan. So that was the hard part, was getting into the show is just a nightmare.
His post says, just now let's talk about the shit stain at the SoFi Stadium. Stacy and I went to see the show in LA because Pat and Neil were the opening in LA, not in Vegas. He lives in Vegas. It was just like, we've had friends who went to early concerts at SoFi that said the music was muddy and hard to hear. 3 years later, nothing has changed. Great place to see a football game, but a horrible place to see a concert.
I think that's what it is. I've never seen a football game there, and I feel like if I was there for a football game, it probably wouldn't be as bad, because I think that when it comes to a football game, you're not like, oh man, like the halftime show is at 3 p.m. We got to get there in time. It's like you're there for the game, Whereas with bands, it's like you're there for like, oh, the opening band is on at this time, and da 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 da. So the first thing the woman who was in charge over there, I don't know, the guest list or whatever, sent me the wrong the wrong set times.
Nice.
Told us, was so convinced that she had sent me tickets via email that she never sent. Like, it was just, and then she kind of made it seem like it was our fault. Like, why didn't you show up earlier? And we were like, we did. We've been here for like an hour. We're still in the same position, But it was just like, once we got in, we were just like, oh, this place is fucking retarded. But anyway, so we saw Baby Metal, and me and I had a feeling my wife was going to be way more into it, and she was like, no. And I was like, I'm kind of feeling that too. I don't know what it is. I mean, the music sounded cool, but I think it's this like, it just feels like K-pop metal. You know what? Do you watch Rick and Morty at all?
No.
Oh, okay. There's an episode where Rick decides to dump Morty, and he adopts these two crows as his like partners.
Okay.
Because he's basically like, two crows are smarter than you, Morty. So, but it turns into this like anime thing where it's like he's like this like almost like anime character with the two crows, and goes around, to these villages and kills the big bad or whatever. But like they did it in this like anime style where it's got like an anime intro, and it's like this kind of like up tempo sort of hard rock anime with this like female singer, and I'm like, this makes me feel like I'm listening to just anime theme song after anime theme song
Right.
over and over and over again. And I'm like, all right, you know what, dude? Like, and if you're going to be singing in Japanese, like, you got to help me out here. At least put it phonetically on a screen or something. I kind of feel the same way about Rammstein, where I'm just like, I don't know what sen shucked means. I don't. Sorry, bro. Like, I'd love to sing it, but I don't know what you're talking about. So that's why it's like on Spotify and a few other places where if you're listening to it and the lyrics pop up, if it's in a different language, sometimes it'll put the translation underneath. Like if I listen to Alien Weaponry, especially, like, they're singing in Maori, and it's like it's got their Maori language, but then it says what they're saying. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, it's like my cat literally being able to talk to me and be like, I'm hungry. I'm like, great, I know what you're talking about. This is great. I can help. It's like that, where it's like, at least give us something. But I mean, the crowd was super into it, so I'm not gonna be like, anyone who listens to it is stupid. It's like, no, it's just for me, it just doesn't connect at all. Deathclaw.
With the thing with baby metal too is like those girls could be like 30 and it still like creeps me out looking at them.
Right.
I'm like, I don't think I should be watching this.
Yeah, it's like jailbait metal.
Right. But on to Death Clock.
Well, the cool thing with Death Clock, so after Baby Metal, we were going out, we were gonna get a beer or whatever, and who was out there taking pictures? But Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown. So that was cool. There was just a dude dressed up as Dr. Roxo from the cartoon. So everyone's taking pictures with him. It was pretty fun.
Well, that was funny. At Louder Than Life, there was a random girl backstage in the media tent dressed as Dr. Roxo. And I asked the tour manager with Brendan, I was like, is that girl with you guys? And he goes, no. And I'm like, well, what is she doing back here? We couldn't figure out how she got back there. But Brendan actually ended up taking photos with her, like the Anthony, the guy that was doing my
doing the
camera
video
work. He was taking, like, after every interview, he would take a couple of photos with his good camera, and he was like, I was like, get her, to do some photos with him, and looks at they came out very cool.
Right. Yeah, it was that was definitely the cool part. The thing also with SoFi, which really sucks, they don't put the merch on every level. So
that's what you were saying the last time.
Yeah, so it was the same thing where they were like, "Oh, you want merch? It's on the 6th floor." And I'm like, I'm on the 1st floor, but now I have to go up 6 escalators to get to merch, and then do that all over again just to get back to my seat. It's like, it was just so insane the way they set it up. So I never even saw any of the merch that night whatsoever. So it was just kind of silly in that regard. But yeah, Death Clock was cool. The thing that sucked was they played 10 songs off of the first record, except for my favorite song. So I was like, really?
Womp, womp.
It totally was, dude. By the second half of the show, I went to setlist.com just to see, and I was like, are you kidding me? They're not. So there's a song called Face Fisted, which is like my favorite song on this record. So, what is that? Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, the Anthony took this photo. So.
Yeah, there's one on our Facebook page, on my Facebook page of me and Dr. Roxo doing lines.
Nice. Yeah, he as Brendan kind of walked away, he had a big kind of smirk on his face, and I was like, "Hey, man, you created that." And he's like,
right.
"Oh, he's like, oh, I know.
This is your fault."
This is all your fault.
It's all your fault. But no, but it was that was. If you ever get a chance, dude, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there was some animation studio overseas somewhere, Germany or something like that. I can't remember. But they did these really goofy Batman cartoon videos.
Yeah.
Of Death Clock songs. And one of them is For Face Fisted, and it's hilarious. That one, the one they do for Mermaider, is really funny too. But like, that's not that's how I got into it, but that's like how I really started. Like, I was when I heard that Face Fisted song, I was like I gotta listen to Death Clock again because I'm missing something. And that's when I kind of really got way more into them. But yeah, that was the one song they didn't fucking play. I was like, God damn it! But everything else was amazing. I mean, I don't know. It's so cool. But I mean, when the last few times I saw them though, like their screen kind of came down really low, you know? So it was almost like when I saw the Gorillas one time where it's like same sort of thing where it's like the screen came over the band in a way, you know? So the band was super obscured. And so it's like you only watch the cartoon essentially, which I actually really liked. And but this time it was like the screen was behind them, and you know you could see the band and everything, which is fine too. But I like the idea of like them playing the cartoon in a way, you know, playing the songs for the videos in the cartoon, which is cool. But I mean, it was a lot of fun though, and but yeah, if I can help it. No more SoFi. No more SoFi.
I think I texted you how was Death Clock, and I think you're like they have no business being this good. Like,
that's really it, dude. They really do. I mean, come on, it's like they like my thing is this: is that they do really well on album sales, and I'm always shocked that I'm like, well, then how are those people not the same people buying Cannibal Corpse records or buying these, you know, like, why is that? Why is it like, oh no, I listen to Death Clock. It's like, okay, then how are you not listening to Obituary, or how are you not listening to Napalm Death or whatever? Like that's the part to me where I'm like, where's that kind of disconnect? Like when they came out with that first record, I mean, they shattered death metal album sales up until that point. Like, you know, most bands sell like whatever 25, 30,000 records. These guys came in and sold like 40, 45,000 records their first week for a band that's a cartoon that doesn't exist, et cetera, versus Deicide, who've been around for 25 years. It's like, you know, so that's the part to me that I'm always just like, how? And then again, like I said, they're just that fucking good though. So,
well, I guess, and this could be a bad analogy, but it'd be like Star Wars fans, like people asking like why Star Wars fans aren't into Battlestar Galactica or something. Like, you know, like you're into sci-fi, so why don't you like this other sci-fi? You know?
I think that's a really fair comparison. I think it's a fair comparison, but it's like, I guess to me, it's like when like, you know, if to use that same comparison, it's like if you watch Battlestar and you're like, oh, well, this is cool, but I'm not super into it. Like, I guess I get that, but it's like, I don't know. I guess I being into comic books and all and conventions and all that, it's like I kind of always see it. So, but it's true though. It's like I just wonder what the disconnect is, or where it is, you know? Because it's like to me, it's like, oh, cool. Like I'm on the fence of liking Death Clock. Oh, they're going on tour with Baby Metal. Yeah, maybe not. You know? It's like that kind of thing. I'm like, that's.
I saw someone post on they KNOTFEST clipped a piece of the Brendan Small interview, and someone commented on it on Twitter. And it says, "Bruh, I'm not gonna go because you guys think Baby Metal is good when it's really not. Why don't you stick with your music for your co-headlines? Like a Amon Amarth would be so cool, or Cannibal Corpse, but nope, Baby Metal."
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel. I mean, again, it's like when it comes to metal, it's like I understand really trying to not diversify racially, if you will, but diversify and be like, all right, cool, like let's try Death Clock and Baby Metal and kind of make this thing. You know, I mean, I have no problem with trying that, but it's like, but in this case, I'm like, you guys could have had a Cannibal Corpse opening.
Well, I think in the interview, I think he was talking about it being like Baby Metal was so visual too, and like you know, we're visual, they're visual. It's like it's same, but it's different. The whole thing. So I mean, that's why when it got announced, I was like, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, I could just see it just in the fact that like that's the type of thing that I could see that Brendan Small would do just to be like, fuck you, I'm going to do this, and I'm like, all right, well, I can't argue with the fuck you attitude, and that's kind of what we all do, isn't it? So if somebody's like, I'm like, yeah, I love Slayer, but I love Prince. What, you like Prince? Yeah, well, fuck you, it's like, it's kind of the same sort of thing, it's like in the end, it's almost like it's so metal that it's not metal, that it's so fucking metal, like punk rock kind of thing, so that's why, I see it like that, but people enjoy it, then I'm all about it. But yeah, for me, that baby metal just is not, it's not a train I'm going to catch anytime soon. But yeah, man, but then just lastly for the end of this one, because I should be here. I will be here for next week, but I'm going on that Headbangers Boat thing. So
right.
That's going to be fun, and getting married on there. Yay. Finally, after 11 years, 9 years, whatever it is. So I'm looking forward to that. So we get Hatebreed and Lamb of God and God Forbid and Shadows Fall, and it's going to be a fucking loopy ass event. So I'm going to try to do some interviews and such like that while I'm on the boat.
Absolutely.
See what we can glean from people, especially with Randy being on one of the new POD tracks.
Yeah.
When I came up on Sirius, I was like, oh, fuck, dude. So it's a good time to do that kind of thing. So,
yeah, it's going to be awesome, getting married, all that good stuff with all your friends around, things like that.
And no family. Woohoo.
Yeah, we just got married at the courthouse. We're like, we're not doing anything like that.
Well, we were like, oh, should we do like the Kiss wedding chapel in Vegas? And then somebody was like, you should do an Elvis wedding. And I was like, no, that's kind of cheesy and stupid. But now I heard that Randy from Lamb of God might dress up as a fat Elvis and preside over it, which I think would be hilarious. I'm not going to argue.
All right, man. Well, let's end with a new or nah. How about we do that?
Let's do that.
I just pulled up the new metal era on Spotify and just kind of did a random search here to see what they have on their new metal thing. Let's just go with Power Man 5000.
Ooh, that's a really tough one. That's a really good one. Fuck. All right. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna go with. The first album definitely was like kind of more funk metal. It definitely had some funky, they had the bongos and everything going on in the first album. And then they kind of went to space. Aesthetically, I would say they probably fit in the new metal era. I'm going to give them I'm going to say that they're new.
That's one that I'm very much on the fence on, because I never felt their music really translated in the same kind of way. Hairstyles perhaps, but at the same time, it was, when they started doing the kind of the more space kind of stuff, that is really where it went, and it felt a little bit more, I don't know, I guess rock and roll to me than new metal really did. I'm actually going to say nah on that one. I think they were there during that period, and they were there, taking advantage of the time period, which is cool, and I wish they could have taken out Machine Head during Burning Red and all that, but like, I think they ended up getting kind of pigeonholed in that vibe, but I always felt like they were kind of on the outside of that. I don't feel like they really had the fans crossed over pretty well, but at the same time, I never thought musically they were really. It was really that I always felt like they sort of were on their own. To use the planetary term, but like they were on their own sort of trajectory. Mm-hmm. They were kind of on their own kind of line that really didn't. It never felt Junko related. It never felt DJ. It never felt that kind of thing. It was this like kind of like, I don't even want to call it space rock because that makes it sound like it's stoner metal. But almost like just this kind of, I don't know, space rock. I think that was kind of it. So for me, I would say nah. Like if I don't really put them in that category, but they definitely had the fans and everything around that era. But I just never felt like it was really it was quite there.
No, I definitely I'll lump them in with the new metal era. First time I saw Kiss on the reunion tour, they were opening. It was Kiss and Power Man 5000 on the Mega Kung Fu Radio Tour. They didn't even have the Tonight to Start Revolt out. Yeah, it was.
Oh my god, that's
so. Awesome. So just think of like, was it 20 miles to Texas, 25 to Hell, like all those jammy songs.
Radio is such an incredible record. There are so many amazing tracks on that record.
Yeah, in between songs, you could hear a pin drop. Like people were like, basically, get the fuck off the stage.
Right. Well, that was the thing, was that back then also they didn't have the money to do any kind of production that could have actually, really like they were very stripped down back then. Yeah. Like when I would see them, I saw them at like the Saint in Asbury Park, which holds like 14 people and my mom. It was so tiny, but it was like but everything was just very stripped down. He had that let Rob Zombie rock and roll pants kind of thing going.
Rock and roll pants on.
Rock and roll pants. So that he had that kind of thing going. But like after they did Stars Revolt and everything like that, like that's when they started doing the astronaut costumes and kind of stuff like that. But I think that if they were able to get a little bit more production back then, it would have definitely been a much bigger deal. But yeah, when they did Stars Revolt, I felt like it was like, I don't know. You know what? Now, sorry. I think I might have to change my mind. I might have to. I'm like, oh, you're ready to get that, and I'm like, oh, that's actually got a very like bouncy, almost Static X-y kind of vibe to it now.
Yeah, if they're definitely on the Static X realm
end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm changing my vote, man. I'm going new. Yeah, I think it definitely hit it a lot more, especially after Stars Revolt. Before that, it was definitely more of that funk metal. Very smooth, what was the name of that? Neckbone was always that great song, those bass lines were so fucking smooth, but then once they went past that realm, they went into new metal. So yes, Power Man 5000, new, organized. So, I
might actually have the Tokyo Vigilante #1. I might have the Standing 8. I might have to listen to this album when I get on here.
Is that's the record? What's the first song? It's a Freak Human Fly.
Public Menace, Freak Human Fly.
I love that.
Yeah,
I know a rat boy who does a rat dance. One with a tail. He had to cut a hole in his pants. I love that song, dude. That's such a great track. Yeah. If anybody's out there, listen to Mega Kung Fu Radio. It's a great fucking record.
And that is a great place to end this on. Make sure you are following us over on Instagram at NewPod1999. There's been a ton of videos put up lately. KNOTFEST is killing it, throwing up Instagram reels and things like that. So make sure you're following the Instagram page and commenting, all that stuff, letting your friends know that you listen to the New Pod over here on KNOTFest.com. Yes. So for the KNOTFest.com presents New Pod, I'm Joshua Toomey. That's Ro Coley, and we will talk to you soon.
Oh, yeah.